Good morning, everybody. It is now January 9th, 2023. First off, happy birthday to the Princess of Wales. Catherine, I hope you have a great day. And don't let the Gab Fest get you down. So, speaking of the Gab Fest, I'm sure many of us tuned in last night to watch the interview that, with commercials, was less than 30 minutes. And so, if you didn't watch it, you can catch it. It's on YouTube right now, 60 minutes. You can also go to the Paramount streaming network, which is basically CBS, and they have a 7-day free trial, so you can check things out on there. But if you've seen any of the trailers, those are the high points. You're not missing much. And it was just 30 minutes of edited wine and family bashing. So the old line, don't complain, never explain. I think the royal family is doing the best thing by just keeping their mouth quiet and continue to let Henry dig his own hole. I mean, after what he said and the personal attacks he went after Camilla, you don't mess around with your dad's wife. Even though your mother may have considered her part of the why her marriage dissolved, you still don't go after your dad's wife. It's just no dice. I mean, I'm waiting to see if anything is leaked out pertaining to Tom and Laura's opinion of what Henry has said, because they were also caught in the mix. Here, their family was broken up, and next thing you know, their stepfather is the King of England. Now, they really have to watch their P's and Q's. Even though they're stepchildren, they are still responsible for their behavior. And from what I've seen so far, neither one of them has gone crying to the press. And I don't think that Camilla used Charles's children, William and Henry, for PR purposes. Anytime there's an event where there are members of the royal family in attendance, there will be photographers, and if it's a good shot and a very important event, yeah, pictures are going to be in the media. So stop whining, Henry. Grow up. It's called, most people, well, you have been paying a lot of money for PR, and back then you had free PR, and you were covered, and you did have security. You should have followed the example and done a little bit more research on your Uncle David and his wife Wallis when they walked away from being a senior working royal, and how their life turned out and how they had to exist in Paris and being social glitterati. In fact, there's many stories stating that when David and Wallis would visit New York or Palm Beach, some very wealthy socialites would cover the bills for their suite at the Plaza or Waldorf. They would cover the expenses for the limousines, the flowers. Basically, they didn't pay a red cent when they'd come to visit, just because it was the status of having the Duke and Duchess of Windsor at their events. So you should have played it smart. Followed Uncle David's example. Instead, you trusted your little American wife, who is Little Miss California beach girl, who didn't know how true upper crust society works. She saw the low-level Hollywood issue. She never saw the real old money situations. Okay, so hey, enough of my rant on that, but we know today is Catherine's birthday, and I'm guessing that Penguin did supply the royal family with galley copies of the book. Well, I'm kind of lucky. One of my older brothers did something really nice. I was waiting for my Christmas card to come, and it finally arrived, and there was also a little note stating, make sure you go to the bookstore and be there at opening on the 10th, because I pre-ordered a book for you. He knows I'm into the royal family. Hey, big brother, he knows, hey, Kid sister was in London on July, 29th, 1981, because a friend was getting married. He goes, yeah, Dad had to make sure you were on the plane on the 28th to get you out of Jeddah into London in time. And yeah, it's like people were looking at here, this teenage girl, and with another teenage girl, a friend of mine who was from Paris. We met at Heathrow and went to the one hotel, and all these people are in line trying to get hotel rooms that night. And we just walked up, stood at the end of the counter, and some guy noticed us. I had my little ID card, and he looked at my name. He goes, "Oh, okay. And who's this?" I go, "A friend of mine, Isabel." They go, "You girls are here? Yeah, we know exactly who you are. It's like we got you a room." And he goes, "No squawking about it." We're like, "Hey, we don't care as long as it has a shower and beds." Yeah, it was just one of those odd rooms that hotels keep that have like 2 twin beds in it for that are usually used for the hired staff of celebrities. So yeah, we were basically put in a maid's room. But hey, we didn't care. We had fun. Made it out to the fireworks. Got there in time to see the fireworks, and got back in time to wash, put our hair up in rollers, and then go see all the big stuff the next day. Get dressed, put on our hats, head over to we took the tube. We didn't bother with a black cab. We just took the tube over, and we were smart. We wore comfortable shoes because we knew we had to walk a few blocks. But that's my adventure. Yes, up until a few years ago, I still had the dress and outfit. The shoes gave out, but I still had everything else. But losing those items is a story for another day. Now, let's see what else. So yes, so tomorrow, to get back, so tomorrow I'm going to go pick up a book that was technically a Christmas present. So a little bit late, but hey, better late than never. And after that, I had planned on taking a trip up to Evanston. And I have a nice little digital camera that it's not a phone, but it's nice. I can take it and walk around and record about an hour at a time with it, because it's also designed not only for still photos, but for video. So I will have to pick up an extra memory card. So I have plenty of room, and I have an extra battery for the camera. And I'm going to go up to Evanston, which is also the home of Northwestern University. So I'm going to do a little walking tour. And then when I get back, a friend of mine has agreed to help me use some editing software to make sure it's nice and smooth for when I can get it up online. That will be, today's the 9th. I'm going to hope to get that up for Friday the 13th. But okay, right now we're in a Mercury retrograde. It started on December 28th. It runs till January 18th. So a lot of things for a lot of people are just going cattywampus, and things are just going strange. Things are happening. Everything you want to do right now, this retrograde is preventing us to have happen. And we need to watch certain things and be careful with what we say and do, and be very careful about our own personal safety, because retrogrades can knock the daylights out of people. I know of 4 people right now that have come down with some sort of flu. It's not the C19 stuff, but it's another variant. And knock on wood, I'm not feeling sick. So last time I had a bad flu was 68, 69, and that was the Hong Kong pandemic. So I guess my body has enough antibodies to fight off any other flu virus that has been morphed out of the 68, 69 Hong Kong flu variant. So I've been lucky. Never wore a mask, never wore gloves, lived my life, didn't isolate myself. I'm like, hey, all this is, I considered a faux flu, and I lived my life. And even my doctors, we started talking. He goes, yeah, I was sick back then too. I go, so they're like, yeah, I actually have my little note stating I don't have to wear a mask. I cannot be vaccinated with any unknown substances. I do have some allergies to certain things. So unless we know everything that is in an item, a medication, if we don't know what's in it, it's not going in me. Hey, my family could have a nice malpractice lawsuit from a pharmaceutical company. And so my advice, if you don't know what's in it, don't put it in your body. That's how I live life. But yes, so tomorrow I go to the bookstore, and then because I'll be using the L trains a lot, I'll probably be reading chapters of the book while I'm traveling to different areas of the city of Chicago. And tomorrow it's supposed to be in decent weather, cloudy, so I don't have to deal with sunlight shadows. Let's see, what else did I see today that was so funny? The news article that actually preceded Henry's interview, his wine fest, was that out in Seattle, where that's kind of very left-wing liberal, people were like taking over the city to get their own way. Well, Seattle public schools are now suing social media companies because they have created an issue where kids are now having extreme mental health issues because what they've seen and done on social media. Now, my personal opinion, I think the parents are responsible for letting their kids be glued to a phone. There's no reason for someone under the age of 16 to be glued to a phone with with the ability to go into applications. If it was my perfect world, until a kid started driving or was until 18, yeah, they'd have a cell phone that could dial 4 numbers: mom, dad, a grandparent, and 911, emergency services. That's all a kid needs. I know I grew up without a cell phone. I know dozens and hundreds of people who grew up without cell phones. We're we're pretty much well adjusted. These kids that are glued to a cell phone, I see them walking on the street and I say, heads up, and they don't. And I've seen so many kids do a face plant, and I'm like, and there goes their $1,000 iPhone, because they were glued to the phone and not their surroundings. I mean, how many parents out there have you had to replace phones that have been dropped? Because how many broken noses? I think plastic surgeons are making a fortune from rhinoplasties. These kids keep breaking their noses from face plants. So get a kiddie phone, dials 4 numbers. That's all they need. If they want to talk to their friends, they can use a phone in front of their parents. Come on, AT&T, bring back landline phones so parents can monitor the communication and social media of the kids. I think the world would be a better place on that. I'll see what else was going on. Oh, yeah, they were talking about and showing pictures of Nottingham Cottage in Kensington Palace complex. People have to realize that Kensington Palace, the initial buildings were constructed in 1605, and then about 1670, something around that time, Sir Christopher Wren started adding on to the palace complex, and over the years it's just grown and grown and grown. And it was quite often for the younger royals to be put in Nottingham Cottage while they were single, and that was their little boot hole to hang out with. That was their little personal space. And once upon marriage, then they would be moved into one of the larger apartments / townhouse sections of the palace. And they're saying, oh, Rachel was so jealous of the apartment that Catherine and William had. Well, Catherine and William also started out their married life in Nottingham Cottage. And they had to wait till one of the apartments was vacated by an older member of the royal family. And once they then retired and moved to maybe a smaller accommodation or passed away, that apartment was then had to be brought up to current building code, because some of these parts of the buildings date from 1605. And even though it was kind of beaten up during World War II, it was bombed a couple of times. The the equipment, the needed infrastructure was kind of the best quality at the time. And again, they have to be, some of the wiring is still cut and wrapped. Some of the pipes were still soldered with lead. So each unit, every time it goes to a new family member, they do some renovation, and most of it is the infrastructure that has to be repaired, brought back up to current safety codes. I mean, would you want to move into a house that could possibly have lead pipes? I don't think so. I really don't think so. You would want it to be brought up to safety standards with, hey, smoke alarms, electrical outlets that actually work, actually in-home security monitoring intercoms. So that's what would go on each time. And they said that even when Princess Margaret moved into hers, it was like a 2-year renovation to bring everything up because it hadn't been renovated since like the 1920s. And from 1920 to 1960, that's 40 years. So, hey, in my life, I've seen differences from when I was a kid, when I was in my 20s. You had a basic shower head, you pulled the stopper up on the faucet of the shower, and boom, you had this one shower head. Now it's like people have like a rain shower, and they can preset the temperature and the water spray. So a lot of conveniences, a lot of things are improved, changed in just a decade. So, but yeah, I have a feeling we are going to be hearing more of a wine fest from the gruesome twosome. I also heard a clip that they are going to be on some late night chat show, so I'd keep my eyes out peeled for that, and I'll stay up and see if they are on CBS late night evening program. That seems to be their home base, their preferred network, which is CBS Columbia Broadcasting Service, which is affiliated with Paramount. So today is the 9th of January. Happy birthday, Catherine, and I hope everybody else has a great, wonderful day. Thank you and goodbye.